Um, we have our first sponsor coming to the stage, Paul Reese with In the Cut Barbershop.
Hello, I'm Paul Reese. I'm Samuel's barber. I knew Sam about a year prior to that, and I've always been inspired in people, and I finally met somebody that inspires me. And I talked to him the day I cut his hair, and the thing about it was I said, I've never met nobody that could do the things he's done and remain as humble as he has. And I've never met anybody with so much to offer that's really inviting like that. I met somebody in Atlanta that I can call when I need something, a tax attorney. Nothing that he don't know is amazing to me. And sometimes he just texts me out the blue with words of encouragement. And you don't, I'm 48 years old, and you don't look for that. But you actually makes you feel good. And I've seen him relate to people about sports, and you can ask him questions about the Fortune 500, and it's all the same. He's knowledgeable about all of it. And I'm a barber from Cleveland, and I'm sitting here in a country club with all you beautiful people today, and so that's thanks to Sam. So I just hope that we can all learn from what we see here and actually take the time out, and he actually gives back, and he's actually searching to give the knowledge that he's learned. And that really doesn't happen a lot. So I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful to be here. And I hope, can't wait to read the book. I know it's a great read, but I actually talk to the book all the time, so I'm good. Thank you.
Is Adam Warmuth with Baseline Marketing Solutions.
Thank you. Thank you guys all for being here today. So not enough good things to say about Samuel Wilson. He has been such an inspiration to me as I have been starting my own business, actually at the same commerce club that he is a part of, is how we met. And it's how I ended up at this event today. This month we've been working really hard on the graphics for this event, getting the marketing materials out there. That's what my company, Baseline Marketing Solutions, does. We do websites, we do marketing, we do social media. So if your business needs any of those things, please come and talk to me. But yeah, not enough good things to say about your host, Samuel Wilson, today. I'm very excited to hear him speak, and I'm sure you all are as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Our next sponsor that we have coming to the stage is Fatima Edwards for Altruistic Wellness Tech and Research.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. You guys look amazing. Yes, we are Altolistic, so think about that as elevating people through holistic wellness solutions. So before I go into this, I'll be brief. I am building a relationship with Samuel, but just looking at the branches of leadership, I like to say, imagine a seed, each and every one of us, small and full of potential. That is the essence of leadership within each and every one of us. And just like that seed, Samuel reminds us that leadership starts from within. And Altruistic is planting seeds of change to help the world live a healthier lifestyle. So just imagine underprivileged, underserved communities, like where Samuel's from, transformed into wellness wonderlands, where the leaders of tomorrow are being planted with seeds to build a healthier world. That's what leadership means to Altruistic. We are helping wellness businesses start their business, scale their businesses, but then we are helping people like each and every one of you transition into a healthier lifestyle, live better, feel better, move more, right? We all want to be in our best body, and Altruistic is helping that. And Samuel is helping the world be better leaders, and that's what we're doing for the next generation. So if you are someone who is passionate about wellness, help us help others live a healthier lifestyle. That's Altruistic. Thank you.
Next up, we have Malachi with TSC Highlight.
Kind of like Moses, I'm a little nervous, so I prepared a little something. Leadership. In 7 weeks, there's going to be a rebirth. A community of individuals will gather at a wellness retreat, unaware that they will experience and be given a model for a complete lifestyle evolution. At Sahai Life, we create safe and transformative spaces where Afro-Indigenous individuals participate in blue zone practices such as yoga, tai chi, grounding in nature, and sharing insights and wisdom for their everyday lives. What makes the Sahai Life experience transformational? It's a lifestyle. From life-changing retreats, community food co-ops that teach supply chain theory, entrepreneurship accelerators disguised as simple youth enrichment programs, to creating revenue streams from documentaries of our elders' wisdom, and more. We make holistic wellness tangible, realistic, and sustainable. We're building alliances in support of elevating the standard of total mind, body, and community wellness for all. My name is Malachi. Team, stand up. Sahai Life is our path to a better world. Ally with us, and we'll build a bridge together. Thank you, and thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Malachi. Next person we have coming to the stage, Carl Francis.
How's it going, people? So today we're here for leadership. And to speak about leadership, we need to understand what leadership is. And leadership is a position. Everybody says that, but to truly understand that, we have to understand what a position is. A position is something in a team, right? And the position that plays is like the driver's seat. And what it requires understanding the why. Okay? And leadership is a position of understanding. So, how many understand science? Okay. So we understand in science, in order for life to thrive, it requires both order and chaos, not one more than the other. Okay? Now, from a distance, if we see dancing, anyone knows the tango? From a distance to the untrained eye, if you're watching a tango, it looks like two forces fighting against each other. But to the one that understands these two forces are working with each other to complete something that by themselves, no matter how great they are, they could not do. Are we following? All right. So, order and chaos, fire and ice. All right, we're going to go with fire and ice. To the untrained eye, these are enemies. To the ones that know how to work it together, we can cook with it. We can clean with it. We can make something. You understand? So, in life, leadership is that order, but leadership also understands where to apply pressure and where to let things breathe. You see what I'm saying? It's like the potter working with the clay. He knows where to hold firm at and let that clay spin to form, to let it grow. You see what I'm saying? So once again, it comes down to that dance. I say the tango, the dance, is the highest form of collaboration, the human form in the simplest form. All right? So with that said, Let's dance.
Can I have Amber and Samara to the stage, please?
Hi guys. Oh yeah, come here. I'm Samara. Yes, and we are Sam's children, and obviously, and we were also dedicated. He dedicated the book to us, which is really nice and beautiful. But it's so great to see you guys today. I'm so glad that you guys could come. I have something written, so yeah. We are so proud of my dad and his accomplishments and the ways that he was able to articulate himself in this book. And inspiring others through leadership is not an easy feat, and we are really happy to say that he's done it. Branches in Leadership connects us through shared experiences and offers hope through nuggets of wisdom. So again, thank you for coming, and we are so grateful to see you guys here today.
Also, I just want to say, too, we've heard a lot of leadership things our whole lives, so glad you all can hear it, too, and get all of the tea, because we got it all the time. And it's good to see you all and my family over there, too. I miss y'all.
And now, to pass it off to the man of the day, the man of the hour, our dad, Samuel Wilson.
I can't tell you how humbled I am to have my kids, stay up here, Sam. I can't tell you how humble I am to have my kids here and to be able to introduce me in this moment. It is a blessing. It's a dream come true. I've watched them grow up from little ones to just amazing young ladies and an incredible young man as they're continuing to evolve in life. Having you all here is just a part of our vision for what the future could be and what's possible. The Branches of Leadership is something that we wanted to share with the world, so we thought it was very important to sit down and put the thoughts together from generations of my family, but also the 30 years of leadership that I have been able to experience and been able to embark upon the family. If you will give it just a few minutes, we're going to play just the first line from the foreword. But when you get your book, I hope that you take an opportunity to really immerse yourself in what was indelibly shared with me from my grandparents, their great-grandparents. And I have basically sprinkled that throughout the book to share with you the wisdom and the absolute fortitude that they put into me. And many of my family members are here. My uncles, who are obviously my grandparents' sons, and many of my little brothers and sisters, I call them, are here today as well. So we're going to share with you just the first couple lines of the forward, and then we're going to jump into a quick fireside chat, or do we go to Quickbase now? Okay, so we'll do a fireside chat after that. So we'll just share with you the forward, the first line of the forward, and then I'll wrap up here. But thank you so much for being here. I'm humbled to have you all here.
So large, includes dozens of branches. Forward.
Again, that's the story of our
being with the first branch, I represent the next generation of the family tree, which is so large, includes dozens of branches.
What I want you to take away from this story is leadership, and we'll talk a lot more about it when we talk about the overview of the book. But leadership really spans generations, and it is what we do here forward and how we link to where we came from is what we're going to be able to inspire and pass on to the next generation of leaders coming up. The branches of leadership is, I was explaining to a gentleman, we were having a philosophical conversation about leadership. If you were going out for the WNBA or the NBA or the NFL, which we have one of our former Falcons here, you wouldn't just walk out on the field and go to play. You get yourself in a lot of trouble that way. If you just walk out on the NFL field to play ball or go on a WNBA gym, you got to get the reps in. You got to have the fortitude, the stamina. You got to have the knowledge. You got to work on your skill set. But moreover, you got to have a playbook. What are you going to do? What's possible for you? How do you play this game? You know, Obi was sharing with me all of the time he spent with Ray Lewis and Deion Sanders and all these folks, pulling from them knowledge around how they play this game. The branches of leadership is exactly that. It's about how you play the game of leadership. And we're going to talk a lot more about that because leadership today is so different because the advent of technology changes the way we lead as people. It also changes the way we behave, and it changes how the world will interface with us. So we're going to talk a little bit about that when we get into that phase. So what my son's going to do now is he's going to say a quick prayer, and then we're going to bring up one of our key sponsors. And I'm so excited about this sponsor from Quickbase. How many of you know who Robert Smith is? Robert Smith was a Morehouse grad. He was about 4 years ago. He was the multi-billionaire who actually gifted the entire graduating class their tuition for their entire time at Morehouse. I saw that living in New York with my wife and my son. We saw that on TV, and I called my team to say, find me this person. And we found Robert, and we had somewhere in, Verizon recently bought my company, and I retired. But before leaving Verizon, we found a MSA that said Quickbase sitting somewhere in the archives at Verizon, which is a big company. And I pulled that MSA out and had them find the leadership of that company and bring them into my office. We spent about 2.5, 3 years cultivating a relationship with Robert's company, but ultimately signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Verizon. That was Robert's first multi-million-dollar deal for Quickbase with a Fortune 500. So I'm very happy to have them in our building, happy to have them present to you, but they're going to tell you how the world is changing around you. So I'm excited about you learning that, and then we'll go into leadership. But I'm asking my son to say a quick prayer to kick us off, and then we're going to go from there. So say your prayer.
I bless God that everybody came to see my dad's presentation. I bless God that we will be able to do this and make my dad's dream come true. I bless God that everyone is here to admire all of this. Amen. It was the best I could do, okay?
All right, Quickbase. It is a pleasure to introduce my friend, and again, one of Robert's Quickbase directors of sales. Jennifer and I just met over the phone, but I tell you what, it seems like we've known each other for years. Jennifer is a brilliant mind, and she's going to share with you how the world is changing, but also how you can change your world relative with a technology that Robert's invested in. I mean, Robert's worth $5.6 billion. He doesn't have to do this stuff, but he's creating technology so that people don't have to go and become, whiz-bang coders or go out to tech the way I did and do all the things there. He's saying to you, here's how you can run your business without having to know all the things because I've built it into the technology. So Jennifer, with that, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Thank you, and I'm very honored to be able to be part of this today with you, so thank you. And the partnership. So I'm I'm Jennifer Hollander. I'm the Director of Strategic Sales at Quickbase. We started out as part of Intuit in 2016. We spun off and we were private equity owned. 2019, Robert Smith and his company, Vista Equity Partners, bought the majority share of Quickbase. For those of you that don't know, just to add on to a little bit about Robert, if you rolled up all the software companies that they have in their portfolio, they're the 4th largest software company in the world. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Quickbase. It's funny because Intuit owns QuickBooks. A lot of people call us QuickBooks. So you may have heard of Quickbase and didn't even know it because people call us QuickBooks, but it's Quickbase. And by name, it's called a no-code, low-code software platform. So if you look at Quickbase, that's what it's going to say. But what does that mean to you? Well, I'm going to tell you why that means something to you. We're really helping customers transform the way they work because business is not the same. Since COVID, even more now. And with the economy, there's not a lot of IT resources out there. We're doing a lot of offshore. So how are business people supposed to, especially people starting out in business, how are they supposed to get the technology they need without spending tons and tons of money? And most of you don't even know how to customize those systems to fit your needs. So it kind of feels like we're trying to put like a round, a square peg. Can you hear me now? I'm sorry. A square peg in a round hole with a lot of the systems that we're trying to use. There's so much noise out there. You can go online and look up project management system and you'll probably see at least 500. Well, which one's right for you? So let me tell you a little bit about Quickbase. So how we transform our customers is we boost productivity because it is a no-code builder. We do have a visual builder where you can basically drag and drop and build applications to solve business problems. As well as now we have intelligent AI capabilities. So soon you're going to be able to type in, okay, I want to build a project management application. These are the fields I need. And this is how I need it to work, and you're going to have a full-blown skeleton of an application. If most of you raise your hand if you know how to code an application or build an application. Probably one or two. I have a master's degree in special education, and I can build an application. It really is built for business people to solve problems on their own. Also, we help you scale operations. You can connect, control, and secure with confidence. These days, governance and security is very highly rated. You have to know what data you're connecting and keep it safe. So we have controls, role-based admin, and governance for diverse work scenarios. Whether you have subcontractors that you need to give access to that data, we got you covered. As well as fuel growth, faster time to value with community and expertise. So we have a wide range of pre-built applications. Here it says manufacturing, we have others. There's also an active community, so you can go on and ask questions, get advice, and best practices and resources. So we're here to support you as little or as much as you want. It's not just an out-of-the-box software that we say, here you go, install it, pay us money, and then you never see us again. We're here to support you and make you successful. The reason why Quickbase has caught on is it's changed the way that people have worked. It used to be really linear, task-based work. Now it's complex workflows. People used to go to work. They had a list of tasks that they had to do. They completed them. That's not how it is. A lot of people don't even go into an office. You're told that you need to go get data from 5 different business departments and figure out how to make a report with that. So it's changed the way we the way we work. It's highly distributed. It's not collaboration across one team anymore. And you used to have years to change your business processes. Now people have 7 days. Hey, we need to change this process. You need to go do this now. Let me know when you're done. I heard some people laugh. They understand where that's coming from. And you had standard software tools. You had like 2. Okay, these are your choices. Go figure out how to make it work. These days, some companies have hundreds and don't even know that they have hundreds. So really, we can customize the solution that fits you. So companies really do struggle to unleash, we call it the dynamic enterprise, because there's data overload. A lot of companies have so much data they don't know what to do with it, and data is the company's gold. You just have to learn how to mine it properly. Too many disconnected tools. For those of you that work with corporate systems, I've talked to many people that have to jump in and out of 5 or 6 different systems, pull a piece of data from this one and that one, and then what do they end up doing with it? They put it in Excel. And then there's a lot of untapped workforce potential, meaning a lot of you can solve your business problems yourself. You don't need to be hiring expensive developers or going to your IT department and getting on a list for 6 months to get a solution. There's a lot of business people that can have the mindset thinking. They know the workflow. They know that what needs to be done. They can build their own customized applications. It really is that easy. 67% of us spend 10 to 20 hours each week chasing the data across systems. That's what I was talking about. There's so many people that have to do a report, and they have to jump in and out of 3 or 4 different systems just to pull the data into one report, and then they send it out, and by that time it's not even real-time data anymore. 50% of digital workers customize or build tools from the technology provided by IT, or they acquire on their own, and we'll get into that. A lot of people don't get the help that they need, so they go purchase something rogue, and then it's seen as shadow IT and shut down, or they just add it to their tech debt, and it doesn't do anything else except for that one customized point solution. We call that gray work, and gray work is really all the work that's done in spreadsheets, emails, Word documents, databases, third-party apps. And what we do is very different than some of these other bigger companies, because you have your big systems that do their real important back-end functionality like CRM, financials, and then you have productivity and collaboration tools that can't really scale across lots of different business units. And then you have your developer platforms. Everyone has a spot in the ecosystem, but for people that really need to empower their business units, Quickbase kind of takes the best of both worlds. You can have the flexibility of customizing your application, your workflows, have the governance. You kind of keep the IT side happy as well as the business is happy, because they don't have to wait 6 months to get a solution or figure out how to build in some of the more complex systems. There are some you can see as far as Appian, Pega, OutSystems, you really need to have an IT background, and I know everyone raised their hands. There's 1 or 2 that know coding. Most of us don't know how to build those applications. So empowering you to go out and solve your own business challenges is really what Quickbase tries to do. And there's just different parts of our platform. There's automations, so you can streamline and optimize business processes. Integrations, you can pull data in from other systems into one place. The builder can create custom apps for complex projects. For those of you that do have IT teams, they can build on top of it. It only makes that much faster. There's insights. So you can share role-based insights for informed decision-making. Managers can see manager information only. Frontline leaders can see what their tasks that they needed, and then you can roll things up all the way up to the executive level. And there is admin controls. Like I said, governance and security is very important. And we also just acquired fast field forms, so there's a mobile capability where you can really collect data at the edge of your business, even when there's no connectivity offline mobile. So those are just the different parts of Quickbase. When you put it all together, it's really a platform for dynamic work management. We kind of fit into your processes. Not one company is the same, so you buy these big software platforms that you have to fit the way that you work into. We try and meet you where you are and customize to the way that you need to do business. I think that's it. So thank you.
Thank you. So the thing I would say about Quickbase, just to sort of ground it with this organization is, if you think about what you do every single day, Quickbase allows you to look at, instead of hiring a new person, to automate that function. So some would say, my wife would always explain to people when they would ask me what I did in a complicated world of technology, she would say that my job was to eliminate humans' jobs, and that was a fairly accurate depiction, because my focus was to create automation and to streamline how businesses work. And to do that, we had to focus on the automating functions and technology. So to give you a real example, when I brought Quickbase in, we were able to take a third of 300 people, so 100 people, and reallocate them to something else because their function was replaced by Quickbase. So as you're driving businesses, and you're driving small businesses especially, one of the things that Robert did that I really admire was he bought 5,000 seats himself and gave them to small businesses so that they could automate how they work. And it was little things like bookkeeping or lawn care companies or car washes or things of that nature. They were able to, where they had 2 or 3 people rotating shifts, we were able to put all that data into Quickbase, and Quickbase would think in its own. So it saved them money. So it's not about eliminating. When we went from the horse to the car, it wasn't about eliminating people taking care of horses. It was about automation and mechanization, so you could be more productive. So we didn't eliminate the 100 people. We reallocated them to things that were more valuable to the business. That's how you have to think about Quickbase, and those are the things that we'll do forward. So at this point, we're going to move into a fireside chat with my daughter and I, and then we're going to go into an overview of the book, and then we will go from there. So at this point, I am hers. We just need another mic. Another mic. Always leading. All right.
Okay.
All right, good deal.
Well, first of all, is everyone from Georgia here that's here today, or did anybody travel for anyone else? You are? Okay. That's awesome. I just wanted to know who was in the place. So I'm going to ask these questions for you on this fireside evening, and I hope that you answer them truthfully.
My daughter wanted the first leadership book to be, the way I raised them. So I'm like, we'll give the people a chance to get to know us first.
Yes, I'm so excited to hear your responses to these questions and learn more about, how you came to this point right here. So Dad, what inspired you to write a book on leadership?
So, little story, little backdrop. We live here now in the Sugarloaf Country Club, but very few people know that my very first home, I bought, was 15 minutes from here, over on 120 in Jackson Township. When Amber was born, right down the street when Amber was born, that was the first house we had. So Amber came back to that home, and she went to KinderCare right off of 120. Mm-hmm. So she went to KinderCare. So every morning I would take Amber to the daycare on my way to the office. And what we would do, she was 2-3 years old. So every morning before we go to KinderCare, which is about 5 minutes from our house, we'd make the left and come over here. They hadn't had the gates up yet. The Gale Devers and a bunch of the Falcons and Braves lived in here. So I would drive Amber through here every single day on the way to KinderCare when she was 2 or 3 years old. And she would just, the houses were like humongous. So she would, after a while, she would get to a point where she would look forward to seeing certain places as we drove through. So what brought me to here was the same thing that made me do that. Taking her and bring her through here to the long way to KinderCare was I always wanted to inspire her to be able to think about what's possible. And when as I was coming through my own journey as a leader in technology, African American, living all over the world and having people working for me in Asia and in India and Budapest, you had to be able to resonate on a different frequency in order to be able to manage people. My wife and my son and I would land in Budapest. They would be off at every castle, but I would be managing my team there. But in order to be able to do that, you had to be able to speak a universal language of leadership. So what brought me to this point is the same way I've raised Amber and Samara and Sam, is teaching them the universal language and teaching them to vibrate on a different frequency. Alexander DeHare said that bad leaders believe that you work for them. Great leaders believe they work for you. And that is what this journey is about. And what I've tried to teach my kids is I work for them. I'm a servant leader. My job is to make sure that they have what they need. I'm a provider and a protector. Now, we got to get right when we got to get right, but the fact of the matter is everything I do is for them and to make sure that they have the tools that they need to be successful. This one's an engineer, geological engineer. Samara is graduated from Bard College in New York with dual degrees, and the boys honor roll over here at Mason. So my job is to make sure they have what they need to be successful. Your job is to make sure the people that you lead have what they need to be successful. That's got to be your focus. That's what the branches of leadership is about.
Thank you. Just kidding. That was great, Dad. Thanks for sharing that with us. And I do remember, I really don't all the way remember, but driving through here.
What songs did I play every morning?
Oh, dang, I do remember. It was My Everything by Mary J. Blige.
Yeah. My Everything by Mary J. Blige every morning.
Yeah.
I'll send that to her when she needs a little reminder that she's daddy's.
Okay, question number 2. What was your vision for the book?
Well, my vision is, we saw that somebody ordered the book in Japan a week ago, and I sent out to my family. We have a group chat, probably 15, 19, 20 people on it, that my grandmother's wisdom would be able to be shared with the world. And my grandfather was quiet, much like one of his kids sitting here, Uncle Phil. It's 2 boys, Robert Lee and Uncle Phil, stand up. Yeah. So those are my uncles, and that's Grace and Jesse's 2 of her 9 children. I call them the 9. But my vision was to be able to share that mother's wit and that gentle leadership. Think about growing up in the segregated South. Edenton, Georgia is where my people are from. And you think about coming up in the segregated South, and I can tell you a number of stories that will be in the next book. But the biggest thing was they asked you not to worry about, what other people thought, and not worrying about how other people thought about you. Control the controllables. Worry about what you do and how you do it, and put one foot in front of the other. And my grandma would say, "Come on here and let's go." And that's the attitude that you have to have as a leader. Is that so? My vision was sharing. Oh, my grandmother's baby girl sitting here along with her girls, Evelyn. So I think 3 or 4 of the 9 are in the room. But our vision was to make sure that what they were blessed to be raised on and how they raised us was exactly what we share with the world. Opportunity to be able to leverage, and you'll see that is our focus, is giving you a playbook, as I talked about. If you go to the NFL, you want to know what's expected of you and know how to execute those plays so that you can play it at what Ovi calls a Pro Bowl level. So that's the objective of the branch of leadership.
Okay. Sounds good to me. All right. What should generations like mine, my age group, the generation beneath, under you, millennials, stand up. What should my generation take from branches of leadership?
Well, the challenge that the next generation, Gen X, the millennial group especially, is technology is meeting you where you are. And it's going to change the way things are. It used to be, and I encourage them, you go out, you finish high school, you go to college, you then go out and get a great job, and you build a career. Well, you can see that technology is starting to disrupt that. It doesn't mean that you don't still need to get educated, but you need to get educated differently. And you got to be able to vibrate, and you got to be able to embrace technology. I was just having a conversation with one of our wonderful sponsors that if you don't figure out how to embrace technology, it's not that it'll consume you, but it will disrupt you, and it will eliminate the things that you knew to be true, and prevent you from being able to accomplish the things. And one of the reasons that we brought you to our home is because we wanted everyone in here to see what's possible. Many of my neighbors are here, but for those that are not, we brought you here because we want you to understand that if you will execute, and if you will focus on your leadership, and if you will focus on what you're capable of and rising to your highest level of capability, then you can reach and exceed what we've accomplished to this point. And that's what you have to be focused on. You have to focus on that like you focus on breathing. It's not a choice. Okay, so that's what I would leave. That's what I would say to the millennials is. What's the record? I don't want to sound old.
It's okay if you sound a little old, Dad. You might be.
Okay, you can't. Social media is just not real. Everybody's not balling. Everybody's not flying private jets. Everybody's not living here. It's just a fake world where people can be who they aspire to be or they would want to be. But the reality is you have to be able to find a path that gets you there. And getting there is not the end all be all. Getting there is just one step in the process. Staying there is what matters most. I think for our pro athletes in this room, our executives in this room, when you climb to a certain level, it's not about that's not the end. Staying there is the challenge because someone's always trying to take your spot. So your leadership capability, your leadership acumen, and your balance as a leader is what's going to give you the ability to navigate and to defend. When you get to the top of that hill, you got to defend it. All right?
Okay. Use technology as a tool is what it sounds like. And that's what I gathered from that, including social media. How do you think that my great-grandparents would feel in this moment if they were able to be here today?
All right, so my grandparents, Grace and Jesse, they had 6th and 7th grade education, and I will tell you that I have never met people in my lifetime. I've met PhDs, I've met double PhDs, I've had NASA scientists work for me. I've never met anyone who was smarter, who cared more, and they taught me that, you hear it now, it's more cliche, but my grandparents taught me, boy, don't nobody care how much you know till they know how much you care. And my grandparents, if they were sitting in now, they would be extremely proud. But moreover, they would want to know, okay, now what you gonna do now? And that's so what I'm very thankful of what they created. I mean, it's dozens and dozens of us. But when you go on down the line, it's hundreds of us. And Branches of Leadership reflects that they create the tree and the roots, and we're all branches off of that. And so I think they would be extremely proud because their view is you either go be a man or a woman or you die trying. That's it. There was no. You didn't even wonder was it going to be okay to fail, because it wasn't going to be okay, and they were going to come see about you if they needed to, right? So I think they would be very proud. And they would be very proud of this room because again they came up in the segregated South. And I got my aunt and my uncle here who saw some of that themselves. They came up at a time where you couldn't do what you wanted to do. Right, and I'm a Marine, so I will tell you that on a smaller scale, the cost of freedom is anything but free. Right. So I would say that they will be very proud, and I'm hoping that I make my family proud, and I hope that you guys are sitting here someday to make your folks proud, because you cannot bully someone or force someone. You can't pull out a gun or a knife and force someone to run a 6-minute mile, but you can inspire them to do so. And you got to be focused on what's your how do you inspire people? Forcing people and bullying people and bossing people, and I'm a boss and this and that and the other, that only takes you so far. What actually takes you to the pinnacle of success is your ability to inspire people, but also the ability to recognize that everybody can't be inspired. If a bird wants to fly high, it has to cut loose things that's holding it down. Then you got to be okay with that. You know, the only bird that will attack an eagle is a crow. It'll fly right on its back, and it'll peck its neck. The eagle doesn't try to defend itself. It doesn't try to fight the crow off. What does it do? It climbs. And at some point the crow just fall off because the air gets too thin. You got to do the same thing. When you got them crows around you, you don't even pay them no attention. You don't respond. Ain't no DM. Ain't no nothing. You just fly. You just climb. And guess what? They'll fall right off because they can't go where you're going. And that's what I would say about that, my love.
A word. Felt that. I really felt that. I gotta climb. I gotta let the crows fall off. Yeah. Okay. Last question from me is, it's a kind of a two-part question. So I ask you what you would say, or how your great-grandparents would feel if they were here. But what would you say to your younger self if your younger self was here? Young, I'm talking early career, like out of the Marine Corps, like sitting right here, right now, listening to yourself.
Yeah, no, I appreciate. That's a good question, baby. By the way, that's my year I was born, on my daughter's left ankle.
Okay.
That's pretty, baby. I like that.
Thank you.
I always like that, but it always touches me every time I see it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would say to my younger self, which is a really good question, I would say that if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I think I took chances and I took risk, and like I said, we lived out here. Amber was born in '93, so we were out here in '90. So I would say, so when I came out here, none of this was out here. But my father's vision was, you can't stay here. So you got to, so it took about an hour to drive out, because I grew up in Zone 6, as you'll see in the book. So I was born at Grady. I'm a Grady baby, we went to Zone 1, which is Olympia Way, which the new Freaknik documentary. I told my kids that. So the new Freaknik documentary started last Thursday.
If I see you in that documentary, I don't know.
Right. Well, that was down the street. I lived in Zone 1. Olympia Way was about a half a mile from where that event started. So I come from the dirt, and we got it out the mud. So coming up in Zone 6, I think we took chances, and we always tried to push against precedents. We tried to set precedents. So what I would say to my younger self is, you got to take more risks earlier, and you got to be okay with that. You got to trust yourself. It sounds cliche, but you got to bet that you can make things happen, even when you can't see the path. I'm reminded of a parable where a kid was on a horse trying to get through a storm in the forest, and he said to the horse that, I can't see the path. And the horse said, well, can you see the next step? And he said, yeah, so let's take the next step. So that's what I would say is to my younger self is, you might not be able to see where you're trying to go, but you got to trust what you feel inside and take the next step. And then let the next step, don't worry about, I always say to my little brothers and sisters is, you cannot have yesterday and tomorrow without today. So focus on the next step and the thing you can control, And if you do not have to, you want to plan all the way to the end, but you don't have to see all the way to the end. And I think a thing that I did is you want to be conservative and you don't want to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. You learn more from your mistakes than you do your successes, by far. 20 years from now, you'll say, okay, I learned a lot more from the 5 things I did wrong than 100 things I did right. So you got to be okay with that. So I would just say to my younger self is take more chances and go ahead and bet on yourself. And it's okay to fail. So at y'all's age, I tell some of my little brothers in Christ that, man, y'all too young to be worried about, when y'all get my age. You got 3 or 4 times more you can fail before it matters. So go ahead and take more risk now. That's what I would say to my younger self, baby.
Bet on you. Thank you.
All right, guys. I'm gonna take you through a quick overview of the book, and then we're gonna do our signing. Bailey, we good? All right, good. So I'm gonna take you through a quick overview. So we've been talking about this quite a bit. So let me try to jump in, and I'll be quick. I'm not gonna drain these slides, so I'm gonna try to walk you through it. So if you take a look at this depiction, we've been talking about the future, and so when as the future is evolving, and it's moving around rapidly. How many have heard of AI and ChatGPT and all those things? All right. So all of those things are they're becoming household terms. But I've been working on AI and ChatGPT and those automated technologies for probably 25 years. So it's nothing new about it. One of the things that we were able to do with over 240 patents is we were able to leverage technology. So I worked on the first devices that had video. It was called VCast by Verizon. Video, navigation, applications, download, all of those probably leveraged 50% of my patents with Verizon and allowed them to build a digital business. But what we'll talk about here is where is the future going now? Manual productivity, which either a lot of us do or we got people in our organization that do it. This is manual driven productivity. If you think about those 100 people that were doing a job inside of a Fortune 15 company, we were able to eliminate the need for them to do that job and move them into something that was much more valuable. So manual-driven technology has just become archaic. You're not going to be able to come out of school and get a job and go in a cube and do the things that people were doing, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. All of that will be automated over the course of the next 2 or 3 years. So you can't think about it that way. Manually using ChatGPT, that everyone's getting cool now, and they got the little applications, and you're able to say, "Hey, write me a paragraph that I can send to this person or that person, or write my resume and do those things," and that's cool, and that's allowing you to leverage the technology differently. But the reality is, ChatGPT is not just a technology; it's living, it's alive, it's thinking. Every time you ask it to do something, it gets smarter. Just like no different than Alexa or Siri. When you talk to, well, you don't have to talk to Siri. She's listening to us right now. There's 30, 40 phones in this room that is learning. Who is this guy? What is he thinking? Why does he think that way? What does leadership mean to these people? Siri is listening to that and feeding it to a master database as we speak. So manually using ChatGPT, it's still caveman-like because it is a technology that is already dead. Because what happens with growth? When something grows, what happens? What happened to your old clothes that you used to wear when you were Sam's age? They're gone. Well, ChatGPT is the same thing. It's outgrowing its current space. It has to become something different, something new. So what are teams doing now? What Jennifer just explained to you is exactly what teams are doing. They're outsourcing their capability to machines. They're outsourcing it to PwC or Deloitte. They're going to much bigger teams that are not just adding people. Deloitte is not adding people, or PwC is just not saying, okay, we're gonna hire the 20 people to do the work for you. No, they're hiring 2 or 3 because those folks are using technology. And that technology is replacing 20, 30, 40, 50 people. this is where we are now, hiring external resource teams to run our business. Why? Because the goal is to make more money. To make more money, you either have to sell more or cut your costs. What do you think most companies are doing? They're cutting their costs because it's easier. It's easier to cut your costs. And if you're cutting your costs to a machine, then that allows you to control it. It don't talk back. It ain't late. It can go faster than 100 people. How many followed the Hollywood boycott recently, the writer's strike? Well, they won this round. Who thinks they're going to win the next one? Right. They only won this round because you got to pick your fights. But think how much. But the trade-off was hundreds of millions of dollars back to the studios because they're going to use technology to facilitate those roles. I can go on and on about the NBA and NFL and analytics and how it's changed the game. It's preserving the players. That means those. How many players is it in the NFL, Ovi? Right. So you got somewhere around 1,100 players that play in the league. That's how many slots. Well, it used to be not. NFL stands for not for long. It used to be you were there 2-3 years and you're gone. But analytics is going to make that 7, 8, 9. Brady played for 20. So it's fewer slots. Well, it's because the technology is allowing those players to maintain those slots longer. And so what happens? The kids don't get young, the kids don't stop aging, but there are not a lot of slots for them to go into. Where we're heading beyond this point is automated custom AI. This is when we go. This is when AI becomes fully aware, and it will. And this is when it's fully capable of managing things on its own. And you're able to then leverage it, purchase it, and allow it to manage things for you. When you look at where Quickbase is now, it allows you low code, no code, so you can create. Well, as it evolves, an acquisition that Jennifer just shared with you, their focus is to allow it to think about what it needs to do. How many people know someone that's in project management? Quickbase's ability to eliminate that altogether is significant. And it is not, and I don't want you to leave here thinking technology is somehow a bad thing. It is not something that we need to fear, but it is something that we need to understand and something that you have to be able to understand how to manage it. You have to meet it where it is. It's that frequency we talked about. You got to vibrate on the same frequency as where technology is going. And appreciate that all of us, you know, we've been talking about dog food in our kitchen and it pops up on our phone. Appreciate how that's happening. And appreciate that the fact that you need to understand technology is real. So if we can get off some of the skits and get onto, well, how does AI work? Why does it work this way? What is Microsoft doing? What's Elon Musk doing? We got the Tesla drivers. It's cool. Car drives itself. But what technology is enabling that, and what is possible beyond that? Because if you don't understand that, then it'll just consume you. Now, how many used to go through the toll lines and pay the people? Well, it's gone. Parking garages used to be somebody sitting there. It's gone. What the branches of leadership talk to you about is, it talks to you about how to build your leadership capability so you can manage those things effectively. Because leadership is universal. AI can't replace it. You have to have people that can lead the organization, that can help shape how AI thinks. So you either want to be a victim of it, or you want to control it. And the best way to do that is make sure you have the tools in your belt to where when you speak universal leadership, then the people who are tweaking the algorithms, they're working for you, or they're listening to you. That's got to be your focus. That's how you control your destiny, is to get out front and lead from the front. You can't follow this technology. It's too fast, it's too strong, it's too smart. You got to get out front of it and be comfortable with that. All right, so next slide. So here we're just going to go through a little bit about the overview of the book. I'm not going to drain these slides. But I do want to talk to you about critical laws, right? All of these will resonate, but these are the laws that we live by as people. These are the laws that we really have evolved as a society and as people. Murphy's Law, the more you fear something and dwell on it, the more likely it is to happen. So we talk, now the buzzword is manifestation. Well, you can manifest negative too. So you have to be thinking about the things that you believe are possible and figuring out how to get to those. In branches of leadership, we talk about teaching leaders to conquer the fears. Expect the challenge. Expect to fail. That's the thing that we're not okay with. But we need to expect that I'm going to go do A, and I expect that something's going to happen to try to disrupt me. So I've got to be able to adapt to that and overcome it. But I'm okay with that. What does Darwin say? Darwin says that it is not the smartest or the strongest species that it survives. It is the one that adapts the fastest. Back to technology. Darwin's theory is saying those who will be here and be thriving 20 years from now will be the ones today that adapt the fastest to the technology change. It doesn't matter how strong you are, how much money you got, how much you know. Did you adapt fast enough to stay ahead of technology? So in the branches of leadership, we talked about being adaptable and being able to pull that lever effectively. Next. Kindling's Law. If you write a problem down, clearly and specifically, you've solved half of it. So we do not want to spend time, and in the branch of leadership, we talk about the importance of strong vision and action. You've got to sit down and say, here's my problem I'm trying to solve, but you got to write it down. We call it now what, vision board? Well, as opposed to writing down a bunch of stuff that's in IG or on social media, what is it that you're really trying to accomplish that you can see now? And then once you write that down and you solved half of it, now build a plan towards it. When I met Paul, he had a vision for where he wanted to go with his shop, and he's humble in it, but he's essentially got half of a retail space now where he's got multiple shops. When I met him, he had one here, and he said, "Sam, my vision is to do this," and now he's there. And that comes with having a innate sense of confidence in yourself that here's what I'm going to do no matter what. And when you are able to write the problem down, because that's where it starts, then embed that in your mind and then be committed to doing it, whatever it takes to realize that, then you will see the inertia and the forward momentum to accomplish it. So that's what I would say to each and every one of you. Whatever your problem is today, relationally, professionally, skill-wise, write the problem down, make a plan, and stick to that plan. Don't let anyone distract you from that. Fly high. Don't get the crows off. Okay? Next. All right. Gilbert's Law. When you take on a task and finding the best and fastest way to results is always your responsibility. So this is where I would say in the branch of leadership, we base the branch of leadership on a repeatable system. Success is not chance. Success is not going to, it's not going, for most of us, it's not going to come in the form of a lottery ticket. We're not going to meet some guy that's got a bag. We're not going to meet some young lady who's already accomplished everything and got a bag, living in a penthouse somewhere, and that's going to solve your problem. You're going to have to figure out what part of this do I own, and how do I leverage this? How do I leverage my skill set? How do I bring my skill set either together with someone who also has the skills that would allow me to solve my challenge? So I would say that you have to be responsible for going towards your objective, and whatever you meet along the way, it's up to you to solve for that. Don't wait for someone else to solve it. Problems are not like wine; they don't get better with time. All right, you got to figure that out, and In the branches, we talk about a repeatable system. So I've trusted and bet on myself, but I've also tried to, as I've learned, I've tried to make sure that we created a system that you can implement. When you go out to your car, everybody know how your car starts? That's a repeatable system. It's going to start the same way every time. Versus go out one day and start this way, one day you got to crank something, one day you got to do something else. Most of us don't want cars like that. We want to be able to go out, push the button, they go. So you want a repeatable system in your personal life, in your professional life. What is it that you do that gets you from point A to point B consistently? That's what you want to be committed to. Discipline, you will find, is directly correlated with success. All right, Wilson's Law. If you prioritize, and no pun intended, but this is the Wilson Law is, when you prioritize knowledge and intelligence, money will follow. In the branches, we talk about and encourage ways of learning and investing. Warren Buffett said the number one thing that a person can do is invest in themselves. So as we move forward with the branches of leadership, as we move forward with the Wilson Leadership Institute, we are focused on giving you the tools and teaching you the things that you can immediately go out and leverage that will immediately allow you to pay yourself. You are not going to be able to depend on someone else for your long-term success. You're not going to be able to depend on someone to provide you with the resources that you need for you and your family. You have got to be constantly investing in yourself. You've got to be reading. You've got to be reading on a consistent basis. You know, my wife read 73 books, 93 books in 2023. Bill Gates reads 52 books a year. Elon Musk reads 54 books a year. And Steve Jobs, before his passing, read 50 books a year. Warren Buffett reads 5 to 6 hours a day. So these are people who are constantly investing in themselves. I would challenge you to be constantly investing in yourself. Go through the branches of leadership. Make your notes in the book. Scribble all through it. Take those tools that work for you and put them in your belt. And then leverage them with confidence. Because what I'm sharing with you is the things that kept me up at night. Yeah. The things that I had to negotiate, walking through the minefields, realizing that if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. And that's a hurting thing when you worked as hard as you can to get in that room and realize you just on the menu. And realize ain't nobody, and on top of it, don't nobody in there look like you. And that's okay. Many of the ladies sit here, you in the room all the time, ain't nobody your same gender. Ain't nobody your same nothing. And at the end of the day, that is what you have to fight through. And the only way to fight through it is to have the playbook that allows you to negotiate those things and then vibrate on the universal frequency of leadership. Because everybody in that room speaks leadership. But also your ability to, in the book we talk about Wayne Gretzky. He was a small dude, but he was out there with monsters. But he's ended up being one of the best to ever do it. And we talk about how did he do that? Because he didn't worry about fighting them where they were. He went to where the puck was going. And that's what we got to think about as well. You want to basically solve your problems as fast as you can. Because if you solve your problem faster than others, then you're going to be out ahead of them. It doesn't matter what their size is or their strength or their girth. You're already in the spot. You already have leverage. You know, our football buddies will tell you leverage is everything. If you can get leverage, it don't matter what size the person is. Don't matter how strong they are, how good they are, any of that. If you can get leverage. And that's the thing with how we manage technology. You got to get leverage. All right, next. All right, Falkland's Law. Falkland's Law is if you don't, Bailey. Falkland's Law, if you don't have to make a decision about something, then don't decide. Now this is the thing I just want to make sure whatever they're doing back there. All right. If you don't have to decide, or if you don't have to make a decision, about something, then don't decide. And this is the thing I share with my daughters probably most is everything doesn't require a response. Every email doesn't require a response. Every text don't require a response. If you don't need to make a decision about something, then just don't. You'll know when you need to make a decision. That is universal law. You'll know when you need to act. But if you don't need to act, then don't. I just shared something with Paul late one night that a person without discipline is not free. You have to have discipline. You have to have that thing inside of you that says, okay, I need to act on this or I don't. And if I'm going to act on it, then I'm going to be what? I'm going to be responding versus reacting. There's a difference in responding to something and reacting to it. Okay? All right. Those are the things. So in branches of leadership, we talk about the power of controlling the controllables and majoring in the majors. So those are the things that you can control. What can I do about this situation, and what do I need versus what do I need to do? What matters here versus what doesn't? Major on the majors, because you'll find that the minors are going to only give you so much benefit. All right, so focus on that. With that, we go to the next. I think at this point, what I would ask is all of you are going to get a free copy of the Branches of Leadership. I'm going to sign each one. Bailey and team will sort of direct you guys around. I thank you for spending this time with me. I would ask that you grab the QR code and send it to your friends and encourage them to join us in our goal. We have a member of our Delta cybersecurity team here that's going to be introducing the branches to their organization. We've got several other organizations that are going to be introducing the branches. We've got a number of facilitators, administrators of our school systems here. So our plan is to try to get the branches into as many hands as we can, so that people have tools that enable them to be effective and successful in their ventures moving forward. So with that, I thank you all so much for coming and being here.